Hello everybody and welcome to a very special episode, the first in a little series that we're doing in the run into Christmas of the Win Twice Wrestling podcast. We are doing the 12 days of WrestleMas.
We are.
And on each day we're going to be bringing up a new topic and dissecting it. It won't be as long as the usual episode, you'll be pleased to hear. And here we are on day one. And the topic for day one is a match that either made you fall in love with wrestling or rekindled your interest for wrestling. I know that you've got one in mind.
I do.
So I will let you go first, Holly.
We've already seen mine. I'll be totally honest with you. It was the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and Dudley's from WrestleMania 17.
Did you see it at the time, or was this after the fact?
I vaguely recall seeing it at the time, but not really caring.
Okay.
And then seeing it at a later date and being a bit more interested, shall we say.
So I know we covered it in our very first episode as to the details of why mainly Jeff Hardy and Edge related.
Yeah.
But was it, I assume the action itself or what happened in the match was intriguing, because I don't know for you when you were growing up whether how much of the in-ring stuff interested you or if it was just the attractive guys side of things. And I'm not slating you if that was the case, but I don't know.
I mean, they helped. They definitely helped.
At the age of 12 or
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
hormones are flying all over the shop.
Well, that is very fair. Very fair.
But I think because that match especially was an interesting match, to be fair. It's not just 6 men in a ring doing, like, there's ladders, there's everything going on there. Like I feel like it's a bit more at that point interesting than just, say for example, 2 men just in a ring with nothing else going on. Yeah. So that probably is what interested me more, I'll be honest.
I mean, they'd had matches before and like they'd had ladders involved, they'd had tables involved, but this still felt fairly new. So like you said, it was quite different from the stuff that was being put out there on a regular basis. So I can see why that would be appealing to a young Polly. But has anything else since then, like, because you go through peaks and troughs as a fan, I think most people would agree with that, and there'll be periods that kind of turn you off. Was there a match over the, let's say, the last 5-10 years, because you kind of came back to it in a fairly big way, so what was the moment that kind of made you go, oh, actually, was it a person, was it a storyline, was it a match, or did you just kind of go, I don't have anything to do, I'll put this on, and then...
Literally, I think that's actually what it was.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was just saying, like, oh, it's on telly on like a hungover Sunday morning, let's give this a watch. And then I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I can keep watching this. I don't think I watched anyone specifically and when I want to watch them. Yeah. I genuinely think it was like a convenience. It slipped in as a convenience. And then went from there. And then just stuck around, really.
So what year approximately would that have been, if you had to guesstimate?
Oh my God. Well, I said I was hungover, so we're anywhere up from...
Well, be careful. Be careful later.
Anywhere up from 16.
Yeah, safe-ish answer, I guess.
Yeah, I'd probably say pushing more 18, I guess, properly. And then, again, I will have wavered out and back in, because I would never at that age gone and looked for it. Yeah. If I'd have seen it was on, I'll put it on.
Well, it's more readily available to get now because of the network and all the other streaming services that are available.
Yeah, whereas back then it was just like, oh, it's on Sky, it's like they're showing Raw from whatever the day was. Yeah, fine, I'll watch that, I'll put that on.
I think part of being a wrestling fan has been lost to that era, because when it was harder to come by, it felt more important to, I have to watch it, because I don't have another opportunity to watch it. Whereas now I can go, I can take it or leave it because I can pick it up down the line and watch it at a later date. So the more wrestling that we have now, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know, it's giving people more jobs and more opportunities and stuff, but I feel like the magic of it is gone a little bit. So in the same way that how, I'm going to use the word ubiquitous here, how ubiquitous wrestling is, if there was more of the way that they use Brock Lesnar in WWE, he's not there every week. No. Even Roman Reigns now, they're doing the same thing with him. I know you have very mixed feelings on Roman Reigns, really, but I'm sure we'll cover that in a time where we have to cover one of his matches, which I still don't think we've done actually yet. Okay, interesting. I think that's key to kind of drive people's interest levels, because they feel like it's a bigger event and harder to come by. Yeah. And like I said, I think that's kind of lost. So I mean, for me,
that's like anything, isn't it? At the minute,
yeah,
you can get anything in the world so readily, availably, like so quickly.
And yet, I'm quicker to get bored now than I ever was.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with social media as well. It's like, I can just look this up just now, see it now, and done. And it kind of takes away the effort of having to look for something. If you know what I mean, because it's always there.
For like, I could spend when I was like my teen years and stuff, like before the going out age, I could quite happily on a Saturday, if it wasn't doing like the PlayStation or some form of video game, I could just have like a succession of wrestling DVDs, one after the other,
right?
And I'll be quite content doing that now. I couldn't think of many things more frustrating than having to do something like that.
Having to get up, put a DVD in.
Well, just I mean, like in wrestling, I can't do any. That's why like long haul flights for me are just painful, because they go, oh, well, you know, you can watch movie after movie after movie. I don't want to. I don't want to do that at home. I don't want to watch 3 movies back to back and then still have 2 hours of waiting around. But because now but it's weird because I made myself do that when I didn't have to watch it, and now I can do anything on it and I choose not to. Yeah. I guess that's, you know, taste changes as you get older, but I just think it's quite odd, because I thought if you told me when I was 14 that, you know, 20 years down the line, you could you watch wrestling all day on a weekend if you wanted to, but you'll choose not to. I'd be like,
but I also think there's so much to choose from now.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm very much a person where if there's too much choice, I will make no choice.
I've seen that firsthand.
Yes. Like I just, even if it's something silly, like non-wrestling related, like dinner.
Food. Yeah.
Yeah. If there's too much choice, I will just go, I don't know, and shut down.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's the same as like the network. Sometimes I will look and I'll go, I want to watch like a documentary or something, and I'll put it on and I will look and I'll go, there's too much to choose from, I don't know, and just turn it off.
I think that's probably going to be a benefit then, this, for you, because you will be forced in a particular direction and you'll have to watch something.
Know me, I'd much rather someone said, this is what we're doing, do it, and I go, okay.
But because you're quite a strong-willed individual, that's almost seems out of character in a way, because like I remember,
it doesn't make sense.
I think it was we were trying to work out where to go for lunch one day, and I said, where'd you like to go? Yeah. And you went, oh, I don't know, you pick. And I thought, oh, this is setting me up for a wrong answer. I went, no, I don't mind, whatever you fancy. And then after a while, I could see you were getting frustrated at the fact that a decision wasn't being made. So I went, all right, we'll go here. Yeah. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I'm very much so like when my mind gets a bit overwhelmed with too much choice, it shuts down. It just goes, well, none then. Up. Even if there's something I really want, I'll just be like, no, we're done. Like, I'm done. Yeah, it's an awful position to be.
Do you think that's... I don't want to do armchair psychologist on it, and we're getting away from the topic a little bit. Yeah. Do you have any idea what kind of triggered that?
No, is that something... a psycho.
Okay, well, fair enough. That's put that one to bed, hasn't it?
Probably, but yeah, it's probably one for another time, maybe. Okay. Not for Christmas.
Not for Christmas, not as we're ringing in the holiday season.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so for me, I've gone for one that rekindled it, or my passion for it to a certain extent, because like I said, I go in through ebbs and flows of how much I watch wrestling. I definitely preferred... I appreciate the athleticism in the modern era, but I preferred a lot of the stuff from back in the day. But there are sometimes matches, and I don't want to touch upon the match that we did in the first episode, because that, like I said, I felt like I've kind of covered that one off. But a match for me that felt really engaging, and it stems back from when I was a child. So, as you know, I loved a Royal Rumble. Yes. My favourite match type, even to this day, is still a Royal Rumble match. Not often done well anymore, but I digress. And I think it was the 2011 Royal Rumble. Okay. And first of all, they won the child in me when they said, oh, it's going to be a 40-man Royal Rumble. And I thought, 10 more people? Yeah. And I was like, okay. So don't get me wrong, at this point, I'm already, 22, 21, something like that. But I got excited. I thought, more people in it. I wasn't thinking about the calibre of people that were going to be in it. And then I started to overthink it. And I was thinking, well, they're going to have to put crapper people in there just to fill that out. It's not going to be staged well, like in terms of like the timings of things. And I convinced myself it was going to be crap. Mm-hmm. Then I watched the 2011 Royal Rumble, and I enjoyed it. Nice. I actually thought it was really fun. They had various stages in it. Because and this stems back from when I was a kid, I used to hate it when there wouldn't be loads of people in the ring, because that defeated the purpose for me. So, like the recent Royal Rumble, I think 2020, where Lesnar was in by himself and threw out like 11 dudes, one after the other. I was just like, it's different. It
defeats the point, though.
I like it's okay. I get it, but I'm not. That's not for me.
No.
I understand why they were doing it. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me.
No.
And the 2011 Rumble had periods where I think it started with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were the first two.
Okay.
And I thought, take my money now.
Yeah.
Like that's a great pairing for me. And they had periods where there was a few people in, then someone would come in, would clear house, then they'd tell a different story. So in that match, I'm sure in an episode we'll cover it down the line. This was when CM Punk took over the Nexus group. I don't know if you remember.
Vaguely remember.
So it was when NXT kind of came up to the main roster, was led by Wade Barrett. This was after...
Bad News Barrett?
Well, he hasn't gone to that phase yet. This was just Wade Barrett. And CM Punk kind of wrestled control of that group. And then he had like all the Nexus people coming in, including an early Bray Wyatt when he was still Husky Harris, was in that match as a Nexus representative. And it was just staged very well. And even the ending, which was a little bit comical, which I won't ruin for you, I just thought it was great. Really good. And it's just a match that stands out to me because, like I said, it's linked to my childhood with it being a Rumble, and it over-delivered on something that I thought could very easily go badly. And I don't think it's even necessarily well thought of in the wrestling community, but it's just, for me, it had all the criteria and the qualities. It ticks all the boxes. I like a
Rumble. I like sitting there and like when we watch them together. It's like doing the guessing of who's going to be first in, who's going to be first out,
most eliminations,
and who's going to be number 30 and who's going to win. Like I love mentally trying to do that.
That would be a good drinking one, actually. To be fair.
Yeah, but I'm not very good at these, so I get progressively drunk.
But that makes the choices and the selections and guesses
more shocking. Yes.
Well, not shocking. I was going to say entertaining was the word I was going to go for, but so for me that was the match. I think, to be fair, that's probably us covered off this episode for the first one, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, since we've been talking, I did have another idea of one I could have said. But go for it. The floor is yours. When was that Johnny Knoxville Sami Zayn match? Okay, so we're at the end of this episode. Thank you everyone for listening. This has been the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast. I'm genuinely not going to allow this one to continue until I absolutely have to watch that match. And we will see you for day 2. Bye. Bye.